Okay, so before getting into program of printing odd and even, that is the example of wait and notify, let's understand what is synchronization in Java. Synchronization in Java is basically happens when you are trying to do the communication between two threads. Okay, suppose you have one resource and two thread is trying to access that resource. Okay, suppose we want to write something into the file, and there are multiple threads which are writing into the file. So how they communicate uh, among them? Like first one thread has to write, then another thread has to write. That kind of things can be achieved by synchronization in Java. So synchronization, what happens if there is no synchronization? So the scenario is thread communicate primarily by sharing access to fields and the object reference fields referred to. So in Java you have fields and object references, and two threads they basically share those fields and object references. So when these kind of things are required, when you are trying to communicate among the threads for this kind of purpose where you are sharing the fields and object references, what kind of problem will come? This form of communication is extremely efficient because it is going to help you for the parallel processing, but it makes two kind of error possible. Okay, what are those two errors? Thread interference and memory consistency error. And the synchronization is the tool that is needed to prevent these errors. Okay, so synchronization is used to avoid thread interference and memory consistency error. This kind of problem will occur when you are trying to communicate two threads or more than two threads who will share the resources, or resources you can say in terms of uh, fields, class fields, or any memory resources or file resources or any object reference. Okay, so when we do the synchronization, that is also called a thread safety. Thread safety means you have one resource and multiple threads are trying to access that resource. So one thread will access that resource at one time. Second thread has to wait. So that scenario is called synchronization. Okay, so synchronization is to prevent thread interference and memory consistency error. So interference happens when two operations running in multiple thread but acting on the same data, that is called interleave. So interleave means that is the two operation consist of multiple steps and their sequence of steps overlap. So in this kind of scenario there will be interference of thread, and synchronization is the tool which will prevent the thread interference. Memory consistency error occurs when different threads have inconsistent view of what should be the same data. Right? Suppose you have bank account and multiple you are trying to access the account and other person is trying to insert them, add the deposit the money into that account. So there could be like memory inconsistency issue may come occur. Okay, so synchronization, that kind of issue, like one thread is adding the amount into that account and another thread is reading the account. If those are not happening in the proper way, the synchronized way, the reader of that account may have uh, different amount. He can see the different amount that what he has deposited. So if he has deposited 10, suppose there is a balance of 100 and he's adding, one thread is adding 50 and the thread is removing 50. So uh, one thread can see a different amount of the result of whatever operation he has done. So this kind of memory inconsistency issue may occur if synchronization is not applied. So synchronization will also solve the problem of memory. memory consistency errors. Okay, so before getting into other things, let's try to understand in the program what happens if I don't apply synchronization, or what happens if I apply the synchronization. Let's understand through the program. I'm going to Eclipse. So here I have created one class called test thread issue. Test thread issue is to basically test the synchronization or without synchronization. So suppose I have one class called print number, which is runnable numbers. What it does is basically just print the, let's remove for now synchronization. So let's try to understand how it behaves before I apply synchronization. So synchronization is applied on a particular method, okay, or synchronization can be applied in a particular, in a set of, in a synchronization can be applied for a method, or and synchronization can be applied for a block of statements. Okay, so this class print number, it is runnable. What it does, it has one run method. It calls a method called print. Okay, in print, what I'm doing, I'm printing number from 1 to 10. Okay, so what I'm printing the current thread name and say printing that number. Okay, very much simple. And I have one test class, that is a test thread issue. So here I have main method. So in that main method, what I'm going to do, I will create one instance of this runnable class. So I will say print numbers is equal to new print numbers. This is the instance of my runnable class. Then we will create thread. Thread T1 is equal to new thread, and I'm passing the instance of runnable class. Let's say print numbers, and let's give the name of this thread is T1. Okay, let's run this one. So if you run this one, this program, oh, you need to start. If you start this thread, because there is only one thread, you will see that this thread is printing value from 1 to 10. Till the time you are using one thread, there is no issue. At one time, if you are using one thread, there is no issue. The thread synchronization comes into picture when you are trying to do the multi-threading programming. It means that you are running program through multiple threads at single time. So let's create another thread that's called thread T2. Let's give the name as T2. Variable name is T2, and say T2 dot start. Okay, let's run this. So if you run this program, what happens here, if you see the sequence of printing, T1 thread is printing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After that, T2 suddenly came and is printing 1. T2 came back and printed 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then T2 completed other things. So if you run it again, it may give you different result here. Here T1 is printing 1, 2, 3, then T2 came, T2 printed till 8, 9, and 10, then T1 printed from 4 to 10. So here there is no sequencing. What I want here, first T1 will print 1 to 10, then T2 should print 10 to 10. So here the resource is here what? Resource is this method here, print method. Okay, and that is, there is no control on print method. T1 is printing, and suddenly T2 is coming in, because both are running in parallel. They can call print method at any time. So that way, it is not, this is something, print method is shared, okay, and it is causing one inconsistency. So the desired output is here. First, one thread should complete the printing, then another said thread start the printing. So synchronization is a concept that will come into play here. So synchronization will block, it will put one lock on that method, and it will, until one thread is having lock, other thread will have to wait. So once lock is released by one thread on one method, another thread will capture that lock and that method and start doing the execution. Okay, and till that time another thread, suppose there are other threads called T3, T4, they may need to wait. Okay, so what I'm going to achieve, I will put here, as I said, synchronization will be, can be applied at method level. So if you see synchronized, if you see here, I have put synchronized at method level. Okay, so if I run this, you will see here, first one thread is completing its job. T1 is doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then T2 is doing its job. Okay, now if I create few more threads, say T4, T3 and T4. So what should happen here? At a time, one thread should complete its job, then another thread should start its job. So if you on top, if I say T1 has completed its job, then T2 has completed its job, then T4, then T3. Okay, so here what we have controlled here, only one thread will start the execution and complete its job, till the time other thread has to wait. Okay, so synchronization can be applied by putting the lock on the method, on the resource. So here I have put synchronization on the method level. Synchronization can be applied on the block level also. Suppose I have this, I create one synchronized block and I put my for loop logic inside this. Okay, when you put inside, when you put synchronize inside, as a is when you put synchronized keyword as a block, you have to use synchronized, and this is the mutable object. Right now I'm using this here. So if you run this, it should give me the same result, right? So here first T2 is printing all the things, then T4, then T3, then T1. Okay, so it depends on the thread scheduler which thread will start capturing the log. But once one thread is has captured the log, it will release once it completes its job. Till the time other threads have to wait for that resource. Okay, so this is all about synchronization. Okay, now let's understand uh, wait and notify. So for that I have created one test program. Okay, so let's before getting into that, let's try to understand a little bit about synchronization. Suppose you have four methods, m2, m1, and second method you have m2 that is synchronized, third method also synchronized, and fourth method m4 is not synchronized. And suppose there are two threads are coming at same time. So let's see, suppose T1 is coming first. So what are the methods available for T1? So T1 right now, it is all methods are not logged by any thread. T1 is first thread which is trying to access. So These all methods should be available for T1. Okay, so for T1 method M1, M2, M3 and M4 all will be available. But when T2 comes and T1 has not completed its work, its job, then for T2, because T1 has already put lock on M2 and M3, only M1 and M4 is right now available for T2 because it is not synchronized. Only these are the resource M1 and M4 method resources are available to any thread. Okay, right. So let's remove this one. Okay. Now, what is going to happen in this program? In this program, I am going to show you how to use wait and notify. As I said, wait and notify is required when you are trying to do a sequential thread operation. So when I thread wait and notify methods are from object class, and when you say wait, the current thread will wait. Okay, and current, when I say notify or notify all, current thread will notify, and other thread, okay, or all other threads to continue their execution. Okay, so let's understand here. So in this program, what I'm doing, let's remove unnecessary things. So this is one method called print even or odd. Okay, this method has one constructor which will uh, take one parameter as is even flag. Okay, so and this constructor is required to initialize the value of even, so by default is false. Okay, so I have two methods. One is print even and giving the number, and another method is called print odd giving the number. I'm giving the number as n. So what is happening here? This method is doing as, it is saying that while even is false. Okay, while even is false means it is odd. So print even will method will wait if till that time even is false. Okay, as moment even is true, what it does, it will just sleep for a few seconds and then print it that number. Okay, then it makes the even again false and notify other thread to use it. Okay, so here again I'm explaining. So in this method, it is waiting till that time this even flag is false. It means if it means that some other thread might be printing the odd number, till that time it will just wait. After wait is done, then it will just sleep for a few seconds. You can, it is not required to print the sleep, just for better output, uh, better readability of output, I have put sleep, otherwise it is not required. So here it is just sleeping for 5 seconds, sorry, zero point 0.5 second, and printing the value of that number. After printing that, it is saying that it is ready for other thread. So I say even is equal to false, and then it says notify all. Notify all means it will notify all other threads which are trying to access this method. Okay, so uh, like notify all, there is a method called notify. Notify and notify all. There are two methods. Notify is to um, these are notify and notify all. These are methods to uh, notify other threads to awake, okay, so that they can start doing the execution. Okay, so another method I have as print odd. So print odd will wait till that time even is true, and after that it will sleep for half second and then print that value and then say that even is equal to true. Okay, so and it will again notify to the other threads. Then I'm writing one a class called writer, which is runnable class. Okay, which is having instance of print even odd, which have GVs, which we have just seen, and a flag called is even. Okay, this flag is not related to the flag which is available on the class print even odd, which we have just seen. This variable is used only here. So in the constructor, I'm taking that object and this flag. Then I have one run method. In the run method, I first need to decide what is my initial number to print. In case of even, it is 2. In case of odd, it is 1. So, and I'm printing here 10 numbers. Out of them, I will first print odd or first print even. Okay, so one thread will print odd number, second thread will print even number in parallel. So here, if even is true, then it will use that object even odd and it will print even and give the number as initial number. Same time, in the else block, it will say print odd and give that initial number. And there is a alternate sequence of even and odd number. So it will say initial number incremented by 2. Okay, so this is about run method. Let's come to the test. In the main method, I'm creating one instance of print even odd and giving as false. Okay, this method I'm using for these two threads. Okay, now I'm creating one thread t1 is equal to new thread, then new writer. Writer is a runnable class. Okay, there I am passing print even odd. Okay, and then value of this flag is even, that is true, that is for even writer. Okay, I can say that t1 is a even writer and t2 is a odd writer. Okay, so for odd writer I am passing here false. Okay, this constructor doesn't have any much value, so I can simply remove, because here I'm initializing, because here I'm not creating two objects, I'm creating only one object. So let's remove this. Let's have only default constructor, because in this class, the is even is by default false. Okay, okay, I think we still need it, so I'm sorry, we need this, so let's have it back. Okay, so I'm sorry for confusion. So let's have it, and then we will have these two threads, and we will say t1 dot start and t2 dot start. Okay, let's run this program. Okay, so see here, odd writer is writing 1, even writer is writing 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so So this is the way we can print even and odd in a sequence. Okay. So this is example of wait and notify. Okay. This is all about thread programming. Okay. So I hope you have understood the concept of thread synchronization, yield method, wait, notify, join, sleep. Okay. Let's move to the other topic that is very much important in Java, and that is called JDBC.